Let's do a little late night edition of News of the Week. And for the past 2 days, obviously we had some big news coming out of MLS in terms of when exactly this return to play tournament is going to begin. And also we saw the draw yesterday of where each team is going to belong in the group. And I mentioned which group I actually feel like is going to be the group of death. And I also mentioned where people are going to think the group of death is going to be out of the sixth group in this MLS is back tournament. And MLS actually also put on their website on a poll for people to vote who they think is the toughest group out of the sixth group in this tournament. And unsurprisingly, people voted for Group F as the group of death on the MLS poll. And again, I'm not surprised the fact that people wrote it Group F, because when they see there's two LA teams and they see a Portland Timbers team that they feel like could be very competitive in that group, it's no wonder why a lot of people would think that that's the group of death. But again, like I said yesterday, I feel like Group D is really the true group of death, because all of those teams are unbeaten coming into this tournament, and 3 of the 4 teams actually won their first 2 games of the season before everything was shut down. If you look at Group F, yes, I know you have the 2 LA team and you have the Portland Timbers alongside with the Houston Dynamo in there, that you could say that maybe that's why that group looked very intimidating. But the bottom line is, if you just look at how this season has gone, I really think LAFC has maybe been the only one that kind of looked like the class out of the group. And I even would say maybe because, so far this season, they had a scrappy 1-0 win against Inter Miami, and then they had that battle against the Union where they drew 3-3. The Galaxy, obviously, they look very flat in the first game and look even more flatter in the second game where they embarrassingly lost to the Vancouver Whitecaps at home. The Dynamo, obviously, they suffered that 4-0 routing of Sporting KC. Look like they're going to be in for a long, painful rebuild. And the Portland Timbers themselves, yes, I know they got that 1-0 win against Nashville, but at the same time, they look very poor in that game. And they also look very poor against Minnesota too, which that game they actually lose to them. And the Timbers, one of the things that they're still having problem, as I was talking a lot last year, is that they don't know how to break teams down. So theoretically, Group F, some of those teams in terms of current form are not really that good compared to Group D, when every single team looked like they're on all cylinders. And that the only thing I will also say is that we don't know whether or not if those teams that were in such a good form early in the season in Group D is going to carry into this tournament. But either way, if you want to look at kind of current form, and if you look at the group that definitely had a lot of potential to be just a bloodbath, I feel like Group D might be the one rather than what many people would think Group F is going to be the case. Now, there will be no national anthem that is going to be playing in the MLS is back tournament, and national anthem has been a big discussion for the past couple of days. I mean, for me, I never really a big fan of having national anthem before a game. I mean, I understand the reason why they decided to have it, because it's a tradition for every American sports to play the national anthem before the game itself. But at the same time, I feel like as all tradition goes, it's going to eventually, some of them eventually going to have to break. And I feel like this national anthem stuff, they need to eventually change it to a way where only play it when it's actually on a special occasion, like on the 4th of July or a special holiday, or even in a cup final, because pretty much every single country in terms of their sports league, and you look at all those European sports league, they only play the national anthem when there is going to be a cup final, and they don't even play the national anthem during the biggest game in club soccer that is the Champions League final. So I never understand why they obviously have to stick to this tradition of having to play the national anthem before the game. But obviously the discussion here is that they're not going to be playing it during this tournament. It will be kind of awkward, the fact that they have to play the national anthem during this tournament when literally nobody is actually watching this game, and that the big discussion for the national anthem for the past couple of days has been with the fact that are players allowed to actually protest or take a knee when the national anthem is going to take place. And so far it looks like they are allowed to do that, as MLS have said that they are going to allow players to have the right to protest or take a knee if they want to do it during the national anthem. And the U.S. Soccer Federation have also repelled the rule that all national team players are going to allow to either stand for the national anthem, or if they want to protest in terms of the national anthem and take a knee, they can do so. Yeah, it's interesting to see how this is going to go. I'm not really going to elaborate more on that because it's going to be very easy to get very political on that, and it's very easy to pick a side of whether or not I agree with this or not, and that I could easily offend one group, so I'm not even going to try to do that. Now, moving forward in terms of the next news, besides the whole MLS is back tournament, which I will go back to near the end of this video, we do have some injury news, and unfortunately for Sporting KC fan, this is definitely not great. Felipe Gutierrez is set to miss 7 to 9 months after he undergo knee surgery. And the reason why this is not good for Sporting KC is that he's the main creator for this SKC team, and this is going to be a huge blow that they are going to suffer for heading into this tournament. And I guess in some way this might be great news for all those teams that is involved in Group D, knowing the fact that Sporting KC is going to miss one of their most influential player, not only in this tournament but pretty much until next season, with the way that he's going to be missed 7 to 9 months. But certainly I wish Felipe Gutierrez a speedy recovery, and that this has got to be very disappointing if you're a Sporting KC fan, knowing the fact that you're going to be missing one of the most crucial player on your team heading into this tournament and also after this tournament is over. Now, LAFC is set to sign Honduran international Andy Naha, and I think I mentioned this back in February that LAFC were actually rumored to potentially sign this guy, and that eventually that rumor looks like it has resorted into them potentially on the verge of signing this guy. And obviously LAFC, they desperately need to find some replacement in terms of the fullback. And I think I also mentioned that this was probably one of the best outcome for them to potentially replace Steven Beitashour that they lost during this off season. So yeah, it looks like if this is going to be the case, then this would definitely be a good signing for LAFC. Although one thing I will say about Andy Naha, as I learned a little bit more about him, by the way, he used to actually play for DC United before going to Europe, but one of the reasons why he is now coming back to MLS is that not only did that European kind of career that he has didn't really quite work out, but he suffered a lot of injuries while he was in Europe, and that the only thing that LAFC might be a little bit concerned signing him is that he could be injury prone, and that they hope that he can at least stay healthy for most of the game to, of course, play in their starting 11. Now, Nashville is set to sign DP striker Maxi Romero, or I should say they're rumored to sign DP striker Maxi Romero, because there's still no deal that is close of them potentially signing him. And this is another guy that was a stud that went to Europe, didn't really quite work out, now goes back to Argentina, and now could potentially coming to MLS. And that, for Nashville, I'm pretty sure a lot of their fans really want to see this signing to happen, because they desperately need a striker. Like, I think when you look at this Nashville team, clearly they do have a pretty good defense and midfield, but the only problem and the real reason why they are not considered an elite team yet is they don't have a goal scorer. Like, as long as you don't have a goal scored on your team, it doesn't matter how good your defense and midfield is going to be. You're not going to get very far. And knowing the fact that, from what I heard, he was a stud when he was playing in the Argentina league. This could definitely be a very decent signing for Nashville if they're able to get this deal done. Now, there is a rumor saying that Roma midfielder Javier Pastore is rumored to head to MLS, and they are saying that he is potentially going to be going to either the LA Galaxy and the Seattle Sounders, which if he's going to go to the Galaxy, that kind of doesn't make sense because the Galaxy have already have a decent attack, although maybe the reason why the Galaxy need Pastore is because they want to replace Alexander Katai, who is no longer with this team after they decide to cut him for some of those racial incident that his wife kind of ruins his career. And for the Seattle Sounders, I guess maybe Pastore could be a decent backup for Nicolas Lodeiro in that central attacking mid row. By the way, one thing I will warn for these two teams that want to sign Javier Pastore is that he like Andy Naha is very injury prone. In fact, I think Javier Pastore, I think he is more injury prone than what Andy Naha is, considering he has not played more than 1,000 minutes in the past couple of seasons, and he's also really struggling in terms of form when he is with Roma. So yeah, it could be a huge risk if you decided to sign him, and especially if you're going to pay a lot of money to try to get, and maybe even DP level amount of money to try to get him, because this is a guy that has had a couple of years of history of not staying healthy, and the last thing you need to do is to overpay a guy that is going to be very injury prone and not really be in your starting 11 for a lot of these games. Finally, before we go back in terms of talking about the MLS is back tournament, great news: Benjamin Gallo has awake from his coma and the brain surgery that he of course undertake after he suffered a stroke while he was in Guadalajara. And it's great to see the fact that he is okay, because as we talk about in the last news of the week, or I think it was a couple of news of the week before, it was very scary when we heard the news that he of course suffered a stroke and he was on critical condition and put into a coma. And that it's great the fact that there are now news talk about how he is awake and now be much more healthy after what happened a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, certainly hope that Benjamin Gallo will continue his recovery, and that I'm not quite sure if he's going to recover in time before when the Quakes are going to be in this tournament and going to be on the sideline as assistant coach. But either way, it's great to see that he has able to recover from a couple of weeks ago. Looked like that was going to be something that could be a life-threatening kind of situation. Now, going back to the MLS is back tournament and some more news, and in fact, this is going to be the last thing I'm going to mention in the news of the week, is talk about each opponent that each Group A team will be facing, because remember, Group A is the only group that features 6 teams in its group, which means that each of these teams from Group A will only be able to play 3 of the 5 opponents that they possibly could be facing in Group A. So this is how it's going to work with Orlando City. They are going to be playing Inter Miami, NYCFC, and Nashville SC in this little tournament. And in fact, the Philadelphia Union and the Chicago Fire all have the same team that they are going to be facing, that Orlando City is going to be facing in the group stage. Inter Miami, they're of course facing Orlando City in that opening game. Philadelphia Union and Chicago Fire, which NYCFC and Nashville SC is going to be the same opponent that they're going to be facing in each group stage. So yeah, I know now that these teams, fans of these teams are now knowing which opponents that they are going to be facing. I can't wait until they're going to say, well, look at that, we are going to get some of the opponents that we either want to face or we don't want to face, because these are probably the toughest opponent, and we just avoided some of the easiest opponent that we are going to face. Either way, you know, one thing that I'm going to mention about Group A, and I think I'm going to mention it again when I do the preview and prediction a couple of days leading up to the tournament, is that Group A is a very crazy group, and that it is a group that actually feature 5 of the 6 teams that currently either have a new head coach or have a head coach that is coaching the team for the very first time. And you also have every single team have not got a single win heading into this tournament, and that all the team are winless after 2 match week of this year's MLS season. So yeah, things are going to be crazy, and that, as I said yesterday about Group A, I think this is going to be a really tough group to predict, and that, you know, I won't be surprised when I do predict Group A and predict who is going to be moving on into the next round, that at the end of the group stage part of this tournament, I won't be surprised if I'm going to get a couple of these teams wrong from Group A of moving on into the next round. But either way, there you have it. That is pretty much it for the news of the week. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these news, and have I missed any news that has happened in the past couple of days that I did not put on the board? But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.